everybody. Welcome to a Tatter A Fact. I'm Teryn. We are here at the Girls Inc. studio in Las Vegas. And October is National Depression and Mental Health Screening Month, if you didn't know that. So I thought, I might be wrong, but I thought that would be a good topic on today's episode, because, this is something that I just recently have started opening up a little bit about myself, like publicly, which is super hard to do and super scary because you feel vulnerable. And I think for a long time there was like shame involved. For me personally, I just felt shame and I felt like embarrassed by my issues, my mental health issues. And I think only recently I even acknowledged and said the words out loud, like mental health. I used to call it out like as depression, as anxiety, as racing thoughts, whatever. But, I think the dialogue has been so healthy, open and transparent lately. I mean, you're seeing even, celebrities and people we admire and men, coming out publicly, sports figures that we look at as being, tough and strong and coming out and opening up and being raw and honest and talking about their mental health issues. So it wasn't too long ago, I actually said the words out loud to my wife, Kat, like, I have mental health issues. And that was hard for me to do, but that's my truth. That's like who I am. And it's just a part of my life and it's a part of my story. And now it's a part of Kat's life.
Lucky me.
And her story.
Yeah.
Because you're my life partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, yep, I have noticed it for quite some time, but I don't think you had a big realization about what was going on with you.
Yeah. I always knew. I just thought, it's like I'm moody, or I get sad, I get depressed. It's in my family. I have family members. I have a parent who deals with depression, mood swings.
Huge, yes.
Huge. And, they say if one of your parents has mental health issues, there's a 50% chance your children will. If both parents have mental health issues, then pretty much the kids are shit out of luck. I mean,
I think it's like 85%.
Yeah, it's like 85%. It's there's a good chance the children are. And, you and I, when we were growing up, we didn't talk about this stuff. I can remember as far back, little kid, being so sad and isolating. And I didn't know what that was, and I can remember some moments through, my childhood trying to maybe express that to my parents somehow, some way. And, and I can just remember them saying, well, I think back then they looked at like, well, what do you got to be sad about?
Mm-hmm.
So you live in a great neighborhood, you got great friends, you got this, you got that. Or, what do you got to be sad about? I mean, there's people out there that really have things to be sad about. I think that might have been the mindset of some families, some people, all those years ago, right?
Yeah, definitely. My family too, same thing. It's kind of was just like ignored if it was existed.
Yeah, it was ignored. I think if I knew how to express myself, I've got two good parents, and they would have been proactive. but I don't think I knew how to express that. You know, maybe I acted out, maybe I tried to tell them in certain ways, but the message just wasn't getting delivered, you know?
Because it's something they would probably never think of.
Probably they would never think of,
Yeah.
right? You know, because, you know, like we said, it wasn't really talked about back then. But, you know, thank goodness nowadays it's talked about, and it's much more acceptable. I think that there is still a stigma, you know, but I think we've come a long ways, but yet still have work to do and a ways to go.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, especially maybe with men, you know, maybe in certain cultures, there is still that stigma, I think, and but you know, we've come like a long way. You know, I like my personal mental health issues are depression and different levels of depression. Sometimes it can just be a little depression.
Sit on the
Sometimes,
couch, watch TV. Yeah, a little
yeah,
bit.
zone out.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes it can be severe depression where I'm making things real that are not real. And it causes me to get super depressed and kind of check out a little bit. But would you agree that I'm much more aware now, and I've developed some tools
Yeah.
to help me not stay in that space for too long, or not nearly as long as I used to get stuck in that dark, depressive, you know, state.
I remember seeing you manic. You had that mania where your eyes get wide and you talk really fast, and I would say, Teryn, you're manic. You'd be like, no, I'm not. You didn't even know. I don't even think you knew what it was, right?
Yeah. I didn't even know what it was. And so I didn't know what it was. I didn't recognize it in myself. I just thought I was excited. You know, I just thought I was excited, but I didn't know why I couldn't stop talking so fast. I didn't know what, and I could physically feel my eyes big. Like it almost like exhausted my eyes.
You're excited, but you're also irritable at the same time.
Yeah.
It was all in one.
It was all in one. So did a lot of research, talked to a lot of people, did a lot of, you know, self-awareness and just taking a long, hard look at myself. And, you know, those are called manic episodes. And I remember when I was researching like manic episodes, what is manic behavior? And they tend to attach that to bipolar disorder. And I've never been diagnosed with bipolar or anything like that. I don't think I have bipolar.
Well, there's levels to bipolar too.
Yeah. So maybe I am low level, you know.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, you know, because I do get those manic episodes. And of course, there's people out there that get those manic episodes on a scale and a level, you know, way beyond me. We all experience, you know, these issues differently. It affects us all differently. There's, you know, many different levels and components to them. So, but I do recognize now that I do get those manic episodes. Like, you know, for instance, and you notice this about me, after like a big conference, a big class, something really super exciting in PMU, you know, the high that I would be on, the energy, you know, like that I would have, you know, it was fantastic, and I was so happy, and then the day after, it's like I would crash, and I would be so, like, I would feel so empty and so sad, and so I don't know. I don't even know if I can completely describe it, but it was it's a lonely feeling. I just felt so alone and just so so sad. And you're the one who started really noticing that and gently talking to me about that, because you've got a really gentle way of bringing these things up to me and making me feel safe and comfortable and still loved and admired by you. And I think because of that, Kat, because you are patient and just the dialogue and the communication you and I have been able to have has helped me. It's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also remember after you'd have a bad migraine, like a series of days of migraines, when you finally started to come out of it, you'd be in a manic episode.
I'd be in a manic episode. Yeah. Thank goodness I'm not getting those migraines anymore.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm doing medical grade Botox.
Yes.
Which I started about, maybe 9 months ago or so, maybe longer.
Oh, it's been great.
It's been great.
Anybody that needs it, get it.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're right. I would get in these severe migraines for days on end, and they're debilitating. They stop you dead in your tracks. Sometimes I couldn't work or function or perform. And when you come out of that, I would have this urgent, desperate feeling to get as much work as done as possible, because I just missed a few days, right? I felt like I was just like kicked out of my life, but
do you remember what that would also do? The mania would sometimes trigger another migraine.
Yeah. I remember, I would go to the mirror and look at my eyes and go, what the fuck? My eyes are so big,
I'd be like, you need to calm down.
And I couldn't, I couldn't calm down. I didn't know how to calm myself down. I don't know, but but I've been having these behaviors and these mood things, OCD, as far back as I can remember, and I tried, I definitely went to, I seeked medical help, medical attention. I saw doctors. I was prescribed medicines. And the medicines, they didn't work for me. I know that they work for a lot of people and extremely helpful for a lot of people, but they didn't help me at all. And there was a couple different medicines, I think it made me worse. So I stopped using medicine prescribed by doctors. And I think, all those years ago, I think I started to feel hopeless, and it's painful when you're stuck in a brain like mine. I think people, it can be painful, it can be lonely, it can be sad, it can be a lot of different things. And I think that's why a lot of people start to self-medicate.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. And that's what I started doing. I started self-medicating, and it took my pain away. So, but then you become an addict. And then that brings a whole slew of other problems and issues and obstacles and unhealthy behavior and unhealthy.
Which can affect your relationship, your career, everything.
It
your
affect
family.
Everything. Everything. And I self-medicated in many different ways, not just through drugs, marijuana. I medicated many different ways. I developed addictions to lots of different things, just to take the focus off what was really happening to me and what I was feeling.
I felt like when we got together, you were addicted even maybe to me.
Yeah. I think I was. Our song was, I picked a song for you, and it was that song by, I can't even remember the name of the group, but it was called Addicted. Yeah. And you're probably right. I was probably, because when you came into my life, when I was just starting to really understand law of attraction, spirituality, reading Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, all these books, really doing inventory on myself. And I was at a place where I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to be better, and I wanted to be healthy, and I wanted to be happy, and I wanted to be able to do it without, marijuana and drugs and addiction and distractions. So here comes you in my life, and you were a great distraction. You didn't do drugs. You didn't really have addictive behavior. So you were really healthy and for me that way. But yeah, I think I definitely got all caught up in you and addicted to you and all that stuff. And we're lucky, Kat, because a lot of times when relations start out that way, they don't work.
Right.
They become unhealthy.
Right.
Yeah.
But we worked it out.
Yeah, we totally. Did you become addicted to me at all?
Always.
Yeah, So, yeah.
You know what made me think of that too? We just watched that documentary and Anthony, is it Anthony Bourdain?
Anthony Bourdain.
Boy,
yeah.
was that interesting.
Super interesting. And, I would recommend that documentary to anybody. Anthony Bourdain, brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Super creative, brilliant guy. And
perfectionist.
I could relate to him on a lot of different levels, And of course we know his life, ended in tragedy. He didn't have a happy ending. He ended up taking his own life. And
in the end, he ended up addicted to, I don't remember her name, but that actress.
That woman. He ended up addicted to her. So it was sad. It was sad that he couldn't find the help, the peace, the quietness of the mind, and I certainly still, struggle about that with that. But I didn't want this podcast, to be all about me and I just sit here and talk about myself. I wanted to actually talk about, look, maybe some tools that I've learned, share some tools. I'm in the PMU industry, and my anxiety, my depression, my racing thoughts, it could have prevented me from doing classes, doing, this podcast. I struggle with how I look on video, and I get super, anxious, beforehand. My pit sweat, and it's like, and I think I do get a little irritable trying to get the right camera angles and all that stuff. And
I don't know, does she, Olivia?
Do I, Olivia?
Does she get a little bit irritable?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But you don't get mad at me.
No.
And then,
She's patient
Olivia's so patient. But I don't direct it at anybody. Well, I hope I don't. But I do. I feel myself getting irritable, and that's the anxiety creeping up on me because I'm such a perfectionist. So I'm a Virgo. September 18th, I think Virgos tend to be perfectionists. That's one of our
part of your traits of your sign.
Part of our traits of our sign, and pile on top of that, OCD issues, anxiety, racing, all this. I'm a hot mess, Kat. I'm a hot mess, man.
I still love you.
Yeah, And
I have my own stuff too. Everybody has stuff.
Everybody has stuff. Everybody. Do you think there's anybody that doesn't have some sort of mental health issue on some level?
Right. No, I think everybody has at least a little something.
At least a little something.
Everybody's been depressed at least once in their life.
Yeah, for sure. So, I think I mentioned earlier, I was always, embarrassed, uncomfortable, scared, afraid to open up about this publicly because of, because I teach classes, I lecture, I do all this stuff in PMU. And I don't know. I guess I was just afraid people would look at me differently. They would, I would be judged, because it's hard to talk about this. I mean, I was supposed to, do this podcast like last week, the week before, and I kept kicking it down the road because I was just really afraid to do it. But here I sit and I'm doing it, and we'll see if I launch it or not. But you know what? So I started opening up a little bit about it. And I think what really kind of gave me the courage to sit here today and open up is I did the Pretty Ambitious Summit.
Yeah, that went really well.
Yeah, Sheila Bello gifted me the opportunity to lecture. I called it The Healthy Hustle. And I was able to, I think that was the first time, publicly speaking to other PMU artists, my peers, I really opened up and got really authentic and transparent and raw. And it felt good, Kat.
It was, and it was really good.
And I think it was, and I think it was healing for me. And I was so scared to look at the messages coming in after my lecture. You know, I got, just oodles and oodles and oodles of DMs and messages, and it was just those messages. So many people resonated with some of the things I was saying, some of the things that I feel, some of the things that I go through. And one woman watching the lecture, she sent me a beautiful DM, pictures of her daughter. Her daughter's a weightlifter, young, like 15 years old, and her daughters heard me speaking in the background and stopped and gathered around the computer with their mom to listen to my lecture. And that really super touched me. So it made me feel like, okay, Teryn, this is the universe telling you this resonates with people. People need to know that they're not alone. And because I felt alone for so long, or you feel ashamed or embarrassed, or both, and you try to hide it and you try to pretend that, this doesn't happen to me, and whatnot, and on Instagram and Facebook, we only post, the pretty shit, myself included. I don't post pictures of myself or days that I'm down and depressed, the covers of, we only post the pretty shit, and that's what we see, and then we end up comparing ourselves to other people.
Other people's pretty shit.
Other people's pretty shit. And for whatever reason, we think that's reality, right? We think that's reality, but that's the games and the tricks that our mind plays on us, right? Because our minds can play some really mean tricks on us. It can be very manipulative. Our mind and our thoughts can be very manipulative. Can be for me, for sure.
I think for everyone.
For everyone. So some of my... So I'm just going to talk about probably the biggest thing that I deal with that really super affects me massively. And that's my intrusive racing thoughts. Like I'm a manic thinker. Like the average person gets 65,000 thoughts a day. Can you imagine?
Wow.
65,000. So if the average person gets 65,000 thoughts a day, I know I'm not fucking average. I'm not normal.
Right.
And so, maybe I'm getting 125,000 or 130,000. Maybe I'm getting 250,000 thoughts a day. I don't know. There's no way to know, but I know I'm not the average person when it comes to thoughts. I know I'm riddled with intrusive racing thoughts.
To the point where you can't sleep many times.
To the point where I can't sleep. And just actually, went and saw my doctor about it, So it's just horrible. It's horrible because you can't stop them, And I don't smoke pot no more. I've been sober from marijuana for 9 years, 8 years, maybe maybe 9 years.
Almost 9, I think.
I think almost 9 years. So I don't medicate anymore. And I tried meditation. I even went and sat with yoga people and people that meditate, trying to learn these skills. But are you kidding me? It's like, it
wasn't for you.
It wasn't for me. And I wish to God it was. I know meditation and yoga helps so many people.
Yeah, it does.
So many. And I really gave it a good try. I tried several things, and it just doesn't work for me. I can't stop my thoughts. Not that way. That just wasn't a tool that worked for me. So some of the things that do work for me is I have found that inaction breeds doubt and fear and more anxiety. Inaction. And that was me for years and years and years. I didn't know how to be proactive. So I didn't really take action. If it didn't work, I'd walk away from it and I wouldn't seek anything else for a long, long, long time until it got so bad. And so I was inactive for, big periods of my life. And that's true. When you're inactive, when you don't take action, that just breeds more doubt, more fear, more negative thoughts, more anxiety, more, because you're just stewing in it.
Too much time.
It's too much time, and you're just letting it all come and stay and stew and swirl, and it's destructive. It can be dangerous. It can be dangerous, and it's unhealthy. So you have to be a disruptor. You have to become a disruptor, right?
Of yourself.
Of your own thoughts. And, I think in industries as of late, or, we would see people or hear people come into, like someone new come into an industry and refer to themselves or their company as a disruptor. And what that is somebody is coming into an industry as a disruptor. So they're coming in with new ideas, new methods, new ways of doing things that's going to start pushing the current industry leaders aside and eventually replace them. And that's what we need to do to our thoughts. Those intrusive, negative, swirling thoughts. We have to become a disruptor. We have to disrupt them. We have to come up with new methods, new ways, push them to the side, and we have to replace them. And that's what I've become. I'm not always fantastic at it. It's constant work in motion. You're never cured. You're never healed. I am someone that will never be, perfectly healed, 100% healed. But I think the longer I apply these tools, the longer, I work on myself, and the better aware, the less time they sit in my brain. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think the very first step is, first you have to be aware. You have to be conscientious and aware that they're coming, that they're entering, and that they shouldn't be there.
Right.
And I wasn't able to do that for a long time. I just thought everybody had these thoughts.
Yeah. Come to find out, a lot of people do, but not everyone has them, or not the way you do.
Not the way I do. Right. And I didn't really know that. I thought this is just brains. This is just people. Everybody has this.
Right. Yeah. Well, I've had intrusive thoughts where I can't sleep at night, but it's not constant.
Right.
And it's not every day.
Yeah. Yeah. So my intrusive thoughts are almost every day. But I have found activity that doesn't allow those thoughts to invade me. And, one of those activities is four-wheeling, quadding.
Yes.
And that's why I took to it so quickly and became an avid quadder. And, I just did that 5-day trip, in Utah.
So fun.
But when I'm out there, when I'm on my quad and with my girls and, we're quadding, no, I couldn't believe it. It's just, I'm free. It's like I'm free of those thoughts and that depression. I'm free of it. And it's just such a beautiful, amazing feeling for me. And those moments are few and far between. So I quad as much as I can.
Well, you feel like a badass. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. Roller skating does that for me. Getting on a pair of roller skates and roller dancing and all that, just roller skating to music takes me out of that thought. So we have to find activity to disrupt the thought. We have to take action and disrupt the thought. Not every day can I go jump on a quad and ride out in do donuts out in the desert. So some things, very simple things that I do is dance. I turn on music.
Yeah.
And I get in the mirror And sometimes I sing. Sometimes you catch me and I feel like, like a fucking idiot.
I don't laugh at you.
I know you don't laugh at me, but I still feel like an idiot. I get all embarrassed. And I'll dance. I'll do my, Michael Jackson, my pop lock and my moves and all that stuff, and I dance. One of my favorite songs that can disrupt the negative thoughts is the Bee Gees, Staying Alive. I love One Republic, Counting Stars. There's just a lot of badass songs. I actually have a playlist, Spotify playlist called Disruptor. And it's all these songs. And there's no slow songs or sappy songs. These are all songs that make me feel like a badass. Like they just elevate me. They lift me. They make me feel good. They make me want to, dance, tap my toe and sing. And something as simple as that can disrupt those negative thoughts, right? So that's a good tool that people can use.
I have one question. Is Elvis on that list?
Elvis is on that list. Do you know what Elvis song?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, I have no idea.
Hunka Hunka Burnin' Love.
Oh, right on.
I love that song.
That's a great song.
That's a great song. It just gets me. It gets me going. Gets me going. Yeah, I love it. So TikTok dancing. Right? We just discovered that. Just recently. And that can get you out of that space. When you're in that space, let's go find a trending little TikTok song. Let's learn it. You and I just did Neon Moon, and it got us off the couch. It disrupted those negative thoughts for me because I was in a space. I was dealing with intrusive thoughts and anxiety.
And we laughed a lot.
Yeah, we went upstairs. We put we put TikTok on, and this one couple, and we just practiced and practiced and practiced for like an hour, and then we did a few takes, and we did it.
We had an audience.
The puppies.
Yes.
And we actually posted it on TikTok, which gave me anxiety, but it went over well.
It looked good.
It looked cute. I thought it was like super cute.
And it was fun.
And it was exercise. It brought you and I together. It got us up and moving and dancing. So, so we're going to do more of those because I think that's healthy for me. And it disrupts anxiety, negative thoughts. You know?
It's a fun thing to do together.
So if someone is like me and they're getting anxiety-ridden thoughts, negative thoughts, put on some good music and dance, go practice a TikTok song. Another thing, you can exercise. Some people like to just hit the weights, hit the treadmill, and really, the punching bag.
Get those endorphins going.
Martial arts, things like that. Exercise, art like painting, drawing can disrupt those thoughts, or something as simple as doing puzzles can also disrupt and remove those types of thoughts and anxiety, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking of another one too.
What's that?
Loving on your dogs, your pets, your cats.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're playing with them. That can be a disruptor.
Yeah. Just putting them on a leash and taking them for a walk and just observing how much joy that brings your doggies.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like just something. I would just encourage people not to do something, take action, because I didn't for so long, and it was debilitating for me. So now I have these coping skills. Sometimes you can just call someone that you end up having really super interesting a conversation with. I'm lucky I have lots of friends. I have people in my life that we can chat about anything we could talk about crickets, and it's super interesting. I have friends that are musicians, that are artistic, that, my dad is an interesting conversationalist. So just picking up the phone and calling someone that you tend to have really interesting, stimulating conversation with can disrupt a series of negative thoughts or anxiety. right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So those are the some of the tools that I have learned over the years. So I hope I hope anybody watching today that suffers from this maybe picked up a couple of tools that they can start implementing and
Give it a shot. Yeah.
what's that?
Give it a shot.
And give it a shot, or maybe they can share, like in the comments below. We post this on YouTube. You can then share in the comments below maybe some other things that I didn't mention
Yeah.
that they do to disrupt, those type of thoughts and that type of anxiety.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if just one person learns something and it helps them, then it was worth it coming on here, opening up and talking about it. Right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. The other thing that I do is, well, I talk to myself, but I'm already talking to myself. I have internal dialogue, right? And that's my racing thoughts. My racing thoughts. And I have this internal dialogue, and I have these whole conversations with myself, and I'm making things true that are not really true. It's not reality. So I change. I'm getting much better at changing my dialogue.
Or you open up and you speak to me about it, and you tell me these thoughts, and I'm like, Teryn, no, that's not real.
Yeah. And and I tell you a small percentage of my thoughts, because I think
You don't want to bombard me.
I don't want to bombard you, and I don't want to burden you. I feel I could become a burden to you.
Oh no.
Well, but you do feel like that because it is constant. And and you and I, we're very open, we're very transparent. And sometimes I think sometimes I protect you, I think, and myself still. Sometimes I think maybe you don't even realize the extent of, because I don't even know how I would even show you the extent or explain the extent. I don't even think I have to. I just think you have this sense of, when it's gotten to a place where it's not good.
Right.
It's not good. You recognize that.
Yes.
But a lot of times I can hide it. I can, from you. And I still do that sometimes. I do. But if you can change your internal dialogue, so when you have a negative thought coming in, you verbally talk, you talk out loud, and you say, stop. I squash this negative thought. You do not belong here. You are not allowed here. You mean nothing. You have no power over me. My positive thoughts are 1,000,000 times more powerful than my negative thoughts. I will say that out loud. I don't keep that dialogue in my head. The negative dialogue stays in my head, but my positive dialogue, I put my voice behind that and I say it out loud. So
I do that too.
Yeah, I squash this negative thought. You are not allowed here. You are not invited. You are powerless over me. My positive thoughts are 1,000,000 times more powerful than my negative thoughts, And then I think something that we have to realize when we suffer from this is that we need to realize that we need to remind ourselves that the reality of the situation or the impact of the situation is not realistic as what our mind is making it out to be, right? We blow it out of proportion.
Yes.
We make it huge. And we think the impact is going to be massive and devastating. And in reality, it's not. So we have to remind ourselves of that these thoughts can be manipulative and they can trick us. So the situation is way out of proportion to what our thoughts are trying to convince us that it is. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah. Does that happen to you?
Oh, yeah, I have intrusive thoughts all the time. But not as manic as you. Sometimes when I can't sleep,
Yeah.
That's when it's really bad.
When you can't sleep.
Yeah. And I recite the same things. Those thoughts aren't powerful. My positive thoughts are powerful.
Yeah. Does it work for you?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah. So, you know, sometimes I have days where these tools, they're helpful, but they're not working like they do on other days. You know, sometimes maybe I give up.
Yeah.
Maybe I get weak and I get exhausted and I just give up. You know, not perfect.
Right.
And sometimes I get overwhelmed. And those are the days I just curl up on the couch and zone out.
Watch Netflix.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to watch those
Murder shows.
Murder show. I like to watch the dark documentaries.
Like, why do you have, then I look at what's recorded and there's murder show after murder show after murder show.
You know, and you know, we have a casita and like Mary Richardson comes out and stays in it, my dad and other people, and the Netflix is connected. Right?
Yes.
The contour, the recorded shows are connected. So anybody, I think I've thought about this a few times, like anybody that, like your mom's coming in a couple weeks. Anybody that gets on the TV in the casita and pulls up and sees all the recorded shows, they're going to think, what?
She might be worried for me.
She might be worried for you. It's like, what the hell? You know, my daughter-in-law is like watching all this. Oh yeah, I watched like Murderous Siblings and American Monster and Snapped and... You know, and maybe I shouldn't be watching those. I've been trying not to record as many, you know, but I've been watching those my whole life, ever since I was a little kid. I like horror shows. I like all that stuff. But maybe that's why I like it, because it's dark, you know. And I don't consider myself a dark person. I do consider myself a person full of light and hope and love and kindness and grace. And, you know, my heart is good. My heart, but sometimes my mind.
I don't know. For some reason, I think it's
a little
soothing
cloudy.
to you. I think it's soothing.
I don't know. It is a little soothing too. Maybe I sit there and I go, well, at least I'm not that fucking bad. Boy, shit could be worse for me.
God.
Maybe that's what I do, Olivia. I don't know. Maybe, you know, I never really sat and thought about why am I attracted to those dark shows. I never really analyzed it and thought about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
maybe
and I don't
why.
watch that many of them with you. Especially if they're really gruesome, I can't bear it. And I'll start dreaming about that.
I know. And then I get upset sometimes when you walk in. You're like, I'm not watching that. And I'm like, I know. You know, I have to change it, you know. But I haven't been watching as many.
Yeah, no, I noticed that.
You know, because I could sit and watch them like 10. I could binge on them for like 10 hours, you know. But I feel
10 hours.
Yeah, you know, but I'm like maybe super street smart. I feel like I know stuff now. It's like no one's getting one over me. I know all the little tricks.
Or you could get away with murder.
Or I could probably get away with murder. Yeah, I tell you that all the time. I could get away with murder. I see all the mistakes they make that get them caught. You know, I know. I've had people. I've told people before. Here I am on a podcast telling the whole goddamn world that I like these fucking shows. But I have told people before in classes and whatnot, and a lot of people like them. Come to find out,
no, I think a lot of people. They're super popular.
They're very, very popular. They're all over Oxygen, and IDTV and all over the place. But so at least I'm not the only one. I'm not alone. Do you know how long we've been running? We at an hour or
45 minutes.
45 minutes. Okay, so I'll wrap it up. I just wanted to talk about anxiety a little bit because I know a lot of people have anxiety. I think a lot of people, of course, outside of PMU and have it, but inside permanent makeup. Once I started opening up a little bit about this. I've had a lot of people reach out to me that they also have anxiety, and some of these people are, big names, and they're on video like I am, and they're putting themselves out there, and you would never think that they have anxiety or deal with some mental health issues. And I have gotten that comment that people were surprised that I have anxiety because I make it look easy, I guess, doing tutorials and talking publicly, but it's not easy for me. The torment I go through to actually get on camera. So I wanted to talk about anxiety and how a good way for not just myself, but other people dealing with anxiety to deal with it. And they call it anxiety reappraisal. So it's reframing anxiety, right? It's reframing anxiety because, and it's reframing anxiety into excitement because the feelings and emotions of anxiety and the feelings of and emotions of excitement are almost the same, physiologically the same. Like they come from the same place and it almost feels the same, right? You get the butterflies in your stomach, your pit sweat, your blood pressure rises, maybe you start to talk a little fast, you get excited. And that's almost the same feeling that you get with anxiety. So if we can reframe anxiety into excitement, excitement is healthy for us, whereas anxiety is not healthy for us, right?
Right.
So like Pretty Ambitious Summit, I mean, for 2 or 3 weeks, even Olivia, you guys saw me in here, I couldn't concentrate on much more, than that. And I was, and I kept saying, God, I'm super nervous. And I had to reframe it as like, I'm super excited. I'm super excited. So instead of saying, I'm really nervous about this, reframe that, I'm really excited about this. Instead of saying, this is giving me anxiety, reframe it, reword it. This is giving me excitement. I'm excited about this.
That's what you're telling the universe.
That's what you're telling the universe. That's what you're telling yourself. That's your internal dialogue. Because we tend to believe what we think, right? That's law of attraction. So we have to change our thoughts. We have to change our internal dialogue. And we have to start rephrasing things from negative to positive. And so it's not an easy shift, and it doesn't happen overnight. And I still have a lot of work to do. But if you can use that excitement, so then because anxiety can stop us from moving forward. It can prevent us from accepting a really cool project or gig or engagement or lecture or something like that, right?
Right.
I almost backed out of Pretty Ambitious Summit.
I know you did.
Yeah, and I said that, and I don't know if Sheila, she might have thought I was kidding, but I wasn't. I really did almost back out a handful of times.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
Yeah, right. Trying to come up with a good excuse that she would believe, and of course I would never do that. Like, I'm a person of my word. I wouldn't do that. Mostly because I don't want to piss anybody off, But so I just had to reframe that anxiety into excitement. And that excitement that I felt, it pushed me through the anxiety, and it propelled me to sit down and give that lecture, the Healthy Hustle lecture, that day. And by doing it, by having that experience gave me just a little bit more strength and a little bit more confidence to go into the next experience. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was proud of myself.
Oh, yeah.
The minute the lecture was done, because it was virtual, so you can't read an audience. There's no energy. Like, I'm used to being on stage and in front of live people. You can read, you could feel the energy and read the room. But on that, I couldn't. And there was this message board, where everybody was messaging, but I was too nervous. I couldn't look over there and kind of see what people were saying, whether they were sending hearts or, positive statements or not. So right when, the lecture was done, I was super proud of myself first that I did it. And then when I started reading the messages and the messages coming into my DM and whatnot,
do you feel relieved also?
I felt relieved. I felt relieved.
Proud.
I felt proud. I felt
elated,
high. And I didn't really have a crash after that. Did you notice that about me? I didn't crash. I didn't crash that night. I didn't the next day I didn't crash. I actually woke up the next day and something felt so right. It's like I felt, because me and Olivia will have like little talks, like I'll spout off sometimes about, spiritual stuff. And when I'm talking that, something feels so right in me when I'm speaking it, because I speak it from a place, it's raw. It's authentic for me, right? And
It's ingrained.
it's ingrained in me because law of attraction, I think, saved my life. That may sound dramatic to some people, but I do think that. I mean, do I mean it as literal as I might be dead? No, I don't mean it as literal as that, but I was in a dark space, walking a dark path, and starting to feel hopeless. And when you start to feel hopeless, if that hopelessness is allowed to grow and grow and grow, then it gets really scary. We have to have hope. You have to have hope. If you don't have hope, you have nothing. You have to have hope and faith. And I started to lose hope and faith. Like, this is my life. Found spiritual law of attraction, spiritual law, started practicing it, and then started implementing it, living it, speaking it. That led me to permanent makeup 3 or 4 years later. Permanent makeup gave me purpose, gave me something to offer other people. It was something I was good at. It was something that I could dive into and excel at, work on, be proud of, make a living. And so yeah, I think it saved me. It saved me. Who knows what I would have become if I didn't find law of attraction. So that's why, law of attraction is everything to me. And I think some people think law of attraction or manifestation is just an avenue to bring to you, riches, brand new cars and money and wealth, which it can. But that, for me anyway, that is not the core, the true meaning, the core, the importance, and the value of law of attraction. Law of attraction for me is living in optimism, hope, grace, love, kindness. That is law of attraction. First learning and belief in yourself, all that for yourself. When you have that for yourself, you can start extending that to everybody else, right? So, because I wasn't able to extend that to other people many, many, many years ago because I didn't have that from my own self. I didn't know what it felt like,
Yes. No, I totally understand.
Yeah. All right.
Right on.
Yeah.
Did you miss anything?
No, I don't think I missed anything. And this wasn't that bad. I mean, I put on extra, I think I put on 2 different types of deodorant, Secret, Platinum,
I think you
and
have
Dove.
Some here, you keep here.
I do keep here. Yeah, because I was super nervous about doing this. I'll just be honest. I was really, really nervous. I'll be nervous when this launches. We're going to launch this next Friday. So, it launches during October. And I hope I didn't talk too much about myself. I didn't really want to make this about myself per se, but I had to talk about myself a little bit. So, so they understood me a little bit, and, yeah. And I want them to feel me. And I want people to know that, no more shame, no more guilt, if you're suffering from these things, that's constricting. That's probably the most dangerous and destructive element of mental health issues is the shame and keeping it quiet and trying to hide it, So, and I think there's other people out there that do really exploit that about themselves and maybe use it, they lead with that constantly. I certainly don't do that. And that's, not where I want to go with this. I just want to connect with people and, and I just want them to know, look, if I can learn coping skills and have, a happy life
and tools with tools.
Yeah. Because I think maybe there might be a lot of people like me where medication doesn't work, meditation doesn't work, yoga doesn't work, the conventional, therapies just don't work. I think there's a lot of people where the conventional therapies just don't work, like me, you know. So, you know, we have to keep trying different tools until you find a set of tools that do work for you, and that help you. It's important. You know, because life is short.
Right.
You know,
you want to live it as healthy and happy as possible.
I want to be happy. For me, the desire, the want to change myself and to be happy was way more powerful than all the icky stuff that weighted me down for years and still can weigh me down from time to time.
Rear its ugly head from time to time.
Rear its ugly head from some time. That desire, you know, to want it for myself, way more powerful. And it has to be that for other people. You know, the desire to have that for yourself has to be way more powerful. And it can be. And open up and talk to people. You have to talk to people about it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So October, Mental Health Screening Month, Depression Awareness Month. And especially in today's world, you know, with everything going on, I think a lot of people, their depression either got worse or they're feeling depression for maybe the very first time because of, you know, the state of the world and how people respond to each other these days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this was good.
It was really good.
All right. All right.
What
Anything else?
What are you making for dinner?
Me? You're taking me out. No, I got a machine class tomorrow. Yeah, I got a machine class tomorrow. We'll go out tomorrow. All right. All right, guys. Woo! Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, we talked about some of my personal issues, and you know, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you needed to hear this today, you found it. If you needed someone to connect with or resonate with, I hope you did. Stay healthy, everybody, and we will see you next time on A Tatter A Fact.